Welcome to the show, everybody. This is the Farsi Show presented by MyBookie, MyBookie.ag. It's wonderful to have you along for the ride. Vic Fangio spitting truths yesterday, even using the phrase fake news when it came to Jalen Hunt's story about his negativity, Vic Fangio's negativity after the Super Bowl. We'll get into that conversation. We'll get into the conversation of Bryce Harper coming back to the Phillies at that Bryce Harper hits a home run. And I even said yesterday on the show, it might be a week for Bryce Harper to get his swing back and all that stuff. Can't take live batting practice, blah, 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 blah. And then he comes out and 3 pitches into his return. Home run. They don't call him the showman for nothing, people. Of course he did. Of course he did. Of course the Phillies score 8 runs in his return. Of course, Trey Turner goes out there, and he gets 2 home runs. One to each side of the field. Oppo Boppo in his first one, and then pulled the second one. Sweet swing of Trey Turner working great yesterday. But Bryce Harper coming back, certainly the shot in the arm that the Phillies absolutely needed. We talked about getting out of that lull. Don't let the lulls last long. Don't let the lulls last long. And the Phillies had a 4-game losing streak after a 9-game winning streak with a little bit in between there, beating the Braves 2-3, which ain't nothing. But make those lulls as short as possible. And if you could go out there in Toronto, you can go north of the border in Toronto, and you can handle your business there and get right back on the winning track, win another series. And hell, why not, for extra added pleasure, get Mick Abel back into the swing of things and maybe not send him back down to the minor leagues anytime soon. But all that makes you feel like, all right, good, this Phillies team's got it. And late last night on the West Coast, the New York Metropolitans lost in 10 innings to the LA Dodgers in beautiful fashion. Max Muncy came up, hit a game-tying home run in the bottom of the 9th inning. And then in the 10th inning, Brandon Nimmo just lost the ball, just lost it. Was looking at it, a Freddie Freeman fly ball with 2 runners on. Oh, he's just watching it, can't find it, and it lands right next to him in the outfield on the warning track. And the Dodgers get the walk-off win. And I like to, more so the Mets walk-off loss. So the Phillies pick up a game there. But all in all, things were coming up roses for the Phillies yesterday. So we'll get into that conversation. But really, and the New York Knicks fire Tom Thibodeau. So 3, 2, 1. Jay Wright's the head coach of the New York Knicks. I saw Jalen Brunson after game 6, after losing to the Pacers, get asked about Tom Thibodeau, whether or not he's the guy. If I was to think that Jalen Brunson knew if anything was in place for Jay Wright to just take over, I think he just would have dodged the question altogether. But he did give an endorsement to Tom Thibodeau, and 5 days later, he's fired as the head coach. Look, I no way, shape, or form guarantee that Jay Wright is going to be the head coach of the Knicks or a coach in the NBA ever. I am very much open to the possibility of that happening, more so than, from what I've discovered, most people. I think if you want at the college level, and college doesn't seem like it might be too appealing right now, and you have a job just right up the road in New York City, I think you might want to take that job in New York City. I'm sorry, you get to coach a couple of guys that you coached at the college level. If there's going to be a way to break into the NBA, it's going to be a way where you're going to get two blessings right out of the gate from Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that's going to be an easy thing for Jay Wright to take over. And quite frankly, I want him to do it. I'm in no way, shape, or form a Villanova fan, but I leave the door open to the possibility of Jay Wright coaching the New York Knicks. And maybe some people will come around to that eventually. Maybe even the New York Knicks. Who knows? But I really got to say, yesterday, just Vic Fangio truth bombs or the words of enlightenment. There was nothing he was afraid to get into. Number one, going through the press conference yesterday, I have a couple of things I want you to hear from him more so than me to just break down and describe. But Vic Fangio, number one, I did not expect him to be as open and honest and, quite frankly, forgiving when it came to Bryce Huff. He was asked point blank, first question in the press conference, why didn't it work with Bryce Huff? And he goes, well, he hurt his hand early on, and as he hurt his hand, that obviously really hurt what he was able to do. And while he was hurt, other guys really started to rise through the ranks and really get a lot done. And really the hand, he just blamed pretty much everything on the hand. Everything passed him by when he hurt his hand. That's a little bit more of a forgiving, and I mean, call it an excuse if you want, but he gave Bryce Huff an easy out in the press conference yesterday. I thought it was a classy move. He didn't bury him. He didn't say anything overly negative. He was like, the guy got injured and that was that, and he'll have success in his NFL career or go on to have more success in his NFL career. It was very nice. Then, as it went on, here's what we learned. Nakobe Dean, not surprising, but Nakobe Dean, not going to be ready anytime soon. Jahad Campbell, probably not going to be ready to really practice until August. It's a little late in the process. And he'll be playing inside linebacker, most likely. Okay, that's fine. All right, thank you for acknowledging where he'll be. Talking about Zach Bond, can play anywhere. Interesting. When a guy has an all-pro season, is a defensive player of the year candidate, signs a mega huge Kajunga deal. I kind of want him to stay in the same spot, but can play anywhere. All right, as a linebacker. And then what was amazing, the Eagles really have a goal to get Cooper DeJean on the field as much as possible. Let me say, I am here for that. I want him to be on the football field as much as humanly possible. He was on the field 63% of the defensive snaps last year. 63% of the snaps for the games he played in. Compare that to Quinyon Mitchell, who was out there for 93% of the snaps. I want Cooper DeJean on the field. If he's healthy and playing, I want him like 100% of the snaps. You want him out there as much as possible. He was dominant as a nickel. He was a huge upgrade from Avonte Maddox after the bye week. And really, nothing seemed to faze him to the point where he picked off Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl and took it to the house. There are some guys, and you've heard me talk about this before, there are some guys in sports that just have this whatever mentality, and I admire the hell out of this. It's you're going to play nickel. Okay, yeah, whatever. You're going to play safety. Yeah, okay, whatever. You're going to play outside corner. Yeah, okay, whatever. Guys in baseball, Bryce Harper, hey, you're going to be in the outfield. Okay, yeah, whatever. You're going to be in center field. Okay, yeah, whatever. Oh, you're going to learn to play first base? Yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever. Like guys like, oh, you're a catcher coming up through the ranks? That lasted 2 seconds for Bryce Harper. Oh, you're going to be an outfielder now? Like, it's just a whatever thing. Like, yeah, I'll just go out there and play. Whatever. Like, it doesn't faze them. They just go out there and they play well. Cooper DeJean is that guy. And look, the idea of him playing safety in the NFL, like Vic Fangio talked about yesterday, the idea of him playing outside corner in the NFL, look, we have yet to see it. But the fact that this guy's just a whatever type of guy, it's not going to faze him. And I got every ounce of confidence he's going to be able to go out there and play those positions. Before I let you hear about Cooper DeJean, by the words of Vic Fangio himself, he also talked about Jordan Davis. And there was a lot of light, not the way to put that. There was a decent amount of light shed on Jordan Davis and the in-shape issue. Because here's the thing. Whenever somebody's talking about the best shape of their life, it means one of two things, okay? Or the best shape of someone's life in this regard, because it's not Jordan Davis saying it. It's never good. It's never a good thing. He's in the best shape of his life. That either means you're fat and out of shape, or that means you should probably retire, because it only gets said about guys that are trying to get into shape that haven't been, or it's about guys that are trying to convince themselves before the media or their teammates or the league, their opponents, that they can still play the game. I'm in the best shape of my life. I feel great. Oh, you should retire now. You should hang it up. Or maybe the offseason just get in shape, before the games really start up there. So Vic Fangio, and I have it for you, literally said, I'm going to dodge that question. So let's start with Cooper DeJean. Here's Vic Fangio yesterday on the versatility that they're banking on right now from Cooper DeJean, including not just playing on the outside, but the safety position.
Yeah, we'd like to keep him at nickel. And then in our base package, we'll find a spot for him, either at corner or safety.
What's the benefit of someone who can play inside at nickel and outside in base, because you'd have to find, some of that corner at the nickel size with like 80% of snaps.
Yeah, I think a lot of it will end up depending upon how the rest of the guys develop and where do we most need them. So it will be determined by what's best for him and what's best for the team. And it'll probably, what's best for the team will win out in that decision. But he's capable of playing corner and he's capable of playing safety.
Every once in a while, you'll read an article, and from a beat reporter mostly. You'll read something, and I read Jeff McClain after the first run of OTAs. And he had a little line in there, and I even talked about it on the show. The Eagles are probably going to want Cooper DeJean on the field as much as possible. So playing on the outside, I don't think he mentioned safety, but playing on the outside opposite Quinyon Mitchell and not just nickel in base defense. Playing on the outside in base defense would make a lot of sense for the Eagles. And something just made me go, huh. I don't think Jeff's just going to throw that out there unless something led him down that path. Either he was told something by a coach, by a source, or it was just something that he noticed in practice. I'll give him credit for that. So listening to Vic Fangio kind of talk about the same exact thing, I found to be fascinating. The other aspect of it is Vic Fangio asked a question when there was a follow-up about Cooper DeJean playing on the outside. And they said, so in base coverage, you would have Cooper DeJean out there more to ensure that he's out there more. And he was like, hey, guys, how percentage of the time, how much do you think we were in base defense in all of last year? And somebody yelled out like 70% of the time. He was like, what? And I thought that was extremely high, so I felt good. But he's like, you're way off. They were in base coverage. I think he's including just the regular season, not the postseason. For 160 snaps. 160 snaps. That's it. As I drop my pen. So, yeah, they're not in base defense all that much. So if you could get Cooper DeJean out there 10%, 15% more, get him up there to closer to 80% of the snaps by playing nickel and corner or nickel and safety, then you're going to have him out there. And I welcome that. Now, a lot of this is also going to come down to Drew Makuba and how he flourishes or not in training camp. It's going to come down to whether or not Sidney Jones can take that job, take that bull by the horns. And Vic Fangio did say, hey, those guys coming along, big competition there at the safety spot. So it wasn't just like, all right, well, this guy will be a part-time safety and Cooper DeJean will be a part-time safety, and then it'll all work right together. No, he also acknowledged that Drew Makuba could play the slot as well. I remember rolling that idea out to you guys, and that would most likely be in the event of, oh, my goodness, Sidney Brown's amazing, and he looks like he's going to be your starting safety next to Reed Blankenship, or Tristan McCollum. I doubt it. Oh, he looks amazing in training camp, and he's going to do it. Or Justin Simmons becomes a Philadelphia Eagle all of a sudden, magically. So I find it all fascinating, the options that are out there, but they don't happen unless Cooper DeJean is able to do it, unless the team thinks he's able to do it. And it also doesn't happen unless Cooper DeJean is able to go back to that, yeah, whatever. Oh, you need me to play over there? Okay, I'll play over there. I'll be pretty damn good over there too, but I'll do it. You got to love that. Nothing phases them. This isn't my position. I don't know how to do this. What are we doing? No. Hey, go be a weapon. And this defense will be better for it. So if Vic Fangio is looking at Cooper DeJean saying, no, you can play that, you can play this, and Cooper DeJean is going, yeah, whatever you need, yeah, let's see it. The Eagles right now are simply doing exactly what they should be doing with a defensive weapon and seeing all the things he could possibly do. And when you talk about the versatility in general of a nickel corner, Cooper DeJean, I believe, has that versatility. And let's not forget, Vic Fangio's first couple of weeks as Eagles defensive coordinator, really as training camp was getting underway last year, and we're talking about James Bradberry playing nickel, James Bradberry playing safety. We talked about the versatility that position demands. And while watching Cooper DeJean last year, it's like, oh, he's got all of that. Physicality? Well, he did pile drive Derrick Henry into the ground in Baltimore. So, yeah, I'd say he's pretty physical. Ball hawking ability, interception Super Bowl, case in point. And also the ability to just play heads-up football. I mean, the guy's just got a great head on his shoulders for that. So if you need him to go into coverage, he can go into coverage. Or go into coverage. Need him in coverage, he can cover. So I absolutely love this idea of moving Cooper DeJean. I know to some people, oh, no, things are great right now. Yeah, but he's 22 years old. He's going to have a long NFL career. I don't want him to come into the league as a great nickel and just be like, okay, well, we're done at the nickel spot. No, he could do other things to help you win, especially if that means you are going to be in base defense 160 snaps. That's 160 snaps I'd still like Cooper DeJean to be on the field for. And I think it's up to the challenge. And to use the phrase that he used for Jalen Carter when it came to the amount of snaps they used Jalen Carter for last year, he said, well, Jalen, are you worried about – people are worried about – who was it? Was Jimmy Kempsky that asked the question? They said, you're worried about some people are worried about Saquon Barkley's workload. Are you at all worried about Jalen Carter's workload? And excuse me, Vic Fangio's response was, he's still a young pup. In other words, he could take it. He's not an old aging veteran that's got to really be careful about how many times you could unleash fury. No, you can just let it rip. And he can do the same thing with Jalen Carter, like maybe the Eagles could possibly do with Saquon Barkley. I'd still like them to be a little bit more conservative with Saquon in the upcoming season, but we'll see where that goes. So very interesting stuff when it came to Cooper DeJean. Now, the Jordan Davis stuff. Jordan Davis took a hit in snap count last year. Now, the argument can be made that he's a run stuffer. So if you get into a 3rd and 9, they're not going to be running the football. He's going to be off the field. Or if it's 4th and 9 and they're going to go for it, he's not going to be on the field. So the snap count, in theory, is actually a compliment to Jordan Davis. It's not a matter of, oh, he's not in shape, so he's not playing as many snaps anymore. No, it's a matter of you're having success as a defense, so he's not on the field as much. Now, he talked about how he came along as a pass rusher last year, but also was asked about the maturation process of Jordan Davis when it came to getting in shape as the season went on. Now, the way this conversation starts, this is also Jeff McClain asking the question of Vic Fangio, is picking up the 5th-year option of Jordan Davis, what warranted that? That's how this answer gets started.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have anything to do with that decision. That's Howie's. But Jordan last year, I would say the last 7 or 8 games, including the playoffs, played very well down the stretch. And I think that's carried over into this offseason. And I anticipated carrying over into the season. I think he's in the best shape that he's ever been in, which he kind of got into late in the season last year, and he's carried it over. So I think he's going to do very well for us this year.
You don't typically see that. Can I just follow up real quick on that? You don't typically see guys get in their best shape late into the season. Why did it take so long for him to get in his best shape?
We could be here a long time for that. It just, it's for some guys it takes time, but I'm ducking that question.
I honestly, I do want to know. What the hell takes so long? What do it take so long for you to get in shape? Last year, around the same time, around the Eagles autism awareness bike race and all that stuff, Jordan Davis is in like the spandex. He's got like literally Lance Armstrong's outfit on. Like, that's too small for you, dude. But anyway, he looks felt. He looked in shape. He's the one that originally came out with the quote about, Fletcher Cox, he's not coming to save us. This is on me and Jalen Carter. And I'm like, yeah, you go, fella. Good for you. That's the mentality to have. And you look great. You look like $1 million. And then it was like a decent start to the season. Felt like he disappeared in the middle of it. And then ended strong and played well in the playoffs. Why does it take so long for him to get in shape? And this is with the full acknowledgement of, I understand that really whatever sport you're playing, you could be in great shape where you could go out there and you could run like a cross-country runner, but that's not going to help you, win one-on-one battles or break up or get through double teams on the defensive line. Like there's gym shape, and then there's football shape. It's like the old Kenny Powers line. You know, I play real sports. I don't try to be the best at exercising. Okay. So what takes so long for Jordan Davis? If I see other guys that are in great game shape, what's taking so long for Jordan Davis? Because I love the idea of him continuing to be a disruptor. I love the idea of him being able to take a step forward and actually rush the passer every once in a while in terms of getting through the middle of that offensive line and getting into the backfield and running down the quarterback. I mean, he set a great tone in that New Orleans game for that defense. The Eagles won down in New Orleans in week 3 before they got their breaks beat off by the Bucs and then went on a 10-game winning streak. But I'd love to see more of that from Jordan Davis. I'd love to see him reach his full potential. Speaking of full potential for Cooper DeJean, I want to see the same thing reached for Jordan Davis, especially in a season where you're going to need somebody else with Milton Williams not being here, stepping up more as a defensive tackle or a nose tackle, depending on what defense you're in. That for me, I think would be huge for the Philadelphia Eagles to be able to look at Jordan Davis and be like, oh, look, he could be out there for another down. How about that? If he plays more snaps in the upcoming season, I'm not going to be pissed at that. If the defense isn't as good, that'll piss me. If that leads to a snap count going back up to, I think it was 45% last year or 2 years ago to the 37 that it was last year. If it's because he's earned it and gotten better, and not because the defense, if he's in there on 3rd and 9, then I'll know he got better. If he's out there and it's only, this is a 2nd and 2, then I'll feel a little bit different about it. But I just want to see him to continue to get better. And really, I've seen him get better last year. I just want to see him maintain that. And how they can't crack the code on the idea of him not being in shape at the start of the season is just absolutely bonkers to me. Because you're talking about a guy not being in shape. I was like, isn't this a problem we've had before? And he got the 5th-year extension? Okay. I'm going to trust, even though Vic Fangio says he had nothing to do with it, I'm going to trust in the defensive coordinator. I'm going to trust in Howie. But if you're talking about a guy still, whether or not he's in shape, and he just got the contract picked up, I got questions. So Jordan Davis is going to have some things to prove when things really do get underway. As far as some other things that were kicked around yesterday during the press conference, I mentioned Zach Bond play either linebacker spot according to Vic Fangio. I would find it fascinating, and this is where my trust might run a little bit thin. So Vic Fangio is the guy to say, oh, no, I think you're my inside linebacker, not my outside linebacker, and not my edge rusher, and not a special teams maven, but I think you're my inside guy. He's the guy to say that to Zach Bond. Zach Bond has an all-pro season. Then he has Jahad Campbell play on the inside and maybe, more so in the Zach Bond role. And Zach Bond then takes in the Kobe Dean role more than anything. That's skeptical. I find that to be somewhat skeptical. Also, this was wild. Jeremiah Trotter Sr., the Axe Man, not the Hatchet Man, was on WIP 2 days ago and talked about Jalen Carter not even knowing the defensive tackle position yet, and he's just going off raw ability and talent. To have the kind of season he just had and call it anything other than just a great season, and also imply that, well, yeah, when he learns the positional, he'll be even better. I'm like, this can get a lot better. All right, let's get that a lot better. And Vic Fangio was like, oh, yeah, I agree with that assessment. Like, he's just getting by on the fact that he's amazing and hasn't really taken that step as far as learning the craft. Like, you pick up a paintbrush and you paint the Mona Lisa and you don't know how to paint. Okay, we're off to a good start. Okay? Pick up a paintbrush, you got the Sistine Chapel all of a sudden. Oh, this is your first day? Yeah, I don't even know what I'm doing. Wow, what happens when we hone these skills? Pretty spectacular. And yes, I do know that those artworks are by 2 different artists. Anyway, but thought that was interesting from yesterday. Gave a lot of props to Keely Ringo and his willingness to compete. Talked about competition at the edge rusher spot. He likes where they are with edge rushers. A really interesting point that he made, and we actually got into this on Locked On Eagles Squad podcast yesterday. Louis DiBiase, Harry Mays, myself, Jason Martinez, God bless him, still going through his battle. Things are looking good. Radiation treatment yesterday, and he couldn't make the show, unfortunately, which was out there. He put that out publicly. I'm not just speaking out of turn. But something that was interesting yesterday was he talked about, we talked about the edge rusher and defensive line position, how it feels like it's almost incomplete right now because you did lose Milton Williams. You're not sure who's going to step up as that other defensive tackle. You want to see Moro Ojomo do it, and I think he's earned the right to get, to still compete for it. But Vic Fangio, I in talking about it, I remembered last year that was a concern of mine. I don't remember a time where you had a defensive line that didn't have depth to it. And Vic Fangio so accurately, I think, pointed out yesterday, he's like, we're in a very similar spot this year than we were last year. But last year, guys stepped up and played well. Nolan Smith went up and played well as an edge. Milton Williams took a step forward last year. Moro Ojomo progressed. Josh Sweat had a solid season. Like he referenced these guys that were going in and taking over their positions and earning themselves more reps. He says, we're in a similar situation this year. Azeez Ojulari has to come in here and earn reps. Josh Uche has to come in here and earn reps. But these are all depth guys. Moro Ojomo has to take that step forward. He said we're a very similar situation. Jahad Campbell needs to come in here if he's going to be playing on the edge, if we're going to be using him in that, not Vic Fangio's words, but mine, in that Hassan Reddick role more so than anything. Then these guys have to be ready to take that step forward. And then, you know what, next year, hopefully you're talking about the same thing. I don't know about these guys, but they worked out the last 2 years, so they're going to continue to work out. I guess we know what we're doing for the Philadelphia Eagles. So I thought that was interesting. And then whenever Jalix Hunt addresses the media again, I need this straightened out. Because he told this great story about Vic Fangio calling the team in after the Super Bowl and be like, great job on the offense, or great job in the first half, but this in the second half is inexcusable. That's inexcusable. You can't play like that in the second half. What's the matter with you? And Vic Fangio just said it was fake news. I didn't say that. I brought them together to compliment them. Somebody's lying. So next time Jalix Hunt's in front of the microphones, and he was last week, he was in front of the microphones. Guess we all just took it for granted. Next time, hey, why are you a liar? Who's lying? You and Vic Fangio. Let's see who wins that one. So that's what I got out of the Vic Fangio news conference yesterday. No, just real quick, just want to touch on this. Nolan Smith. I don't know if there's an easier guy to root for, in all honesty. Like, I know I was really down on him after his rookie year, but man, he just gave me a big old, family-sized helping of crow. And it's like, you eat this. A lot of other people enjoy the feast I have made of crow for you people. And I'm eating it up with a ladle. And it's just such an easy guy to root for. Talked about getting back. He says he's going to be striking next week, talking about the tricep injury. He's still very much in touch with Brandon Graham. He said that Brandon Graham's on daddy duty a lot more now. Talked about rehab going well. Talked about how he injured his triceps in the first half. And got emotional when another question was asked about Brandon Graham and how Brandon Graham has influenced him in his, his young career going into year 3. And he said that Brandon was just the guy constantly reminding me to be you. He just kept saying, hey, be you. Go out there and you just be you. No matter what the struggles you have, no matter what they are, you got to go out there and you got to be you. You can't try to be me. You can't try to be little Hassan Reddick. Remember that? You just got to go out there and you got to do the things that got you to the NFL. And he even said, I'm going to get emotional talking about this. And he started to get a little emotional. His voice started to shake a little bit. Just continue to talk about his maturation as a pass rusher, getting to the quarterback. Also talking about the process of doing that. You got to be great at stopping the run before you get the right to get to the quarterback. And then the amount of respect he has for Vic Fangio, not just because of Vic Fangio's success in the NFL and not just because of the success they just had winning a Super Bowl, but if you've coached guys like Von Miller, now Nolan Smith talked about how he grew up admiring Von Miller. He said, if you're coaching guys like that, you got my respect. You have my attention. So now he feels like he could be the next guy like that, to be coached by Vic Fangio to have great success. I find that to be really interesting. I listened to some of Dory Jackson yesterday as well. He's up for the competition, all that, but I could not get over the fact. I just thought he looks exactly like Lou Williams, former 76er Lou Williams. I didn't watch the press conference live. I went back and watched it later, but a clip came up in my algorithm, and I went, is Lou Williams speaking at the Eagles? I was like, is there a charity event? Are they doing a podcast? I know he does that. I forget what the name of the show is with the lady, Michelle Beadle, I think it is. And I'm like, is Lou Williams is he doing some of the Eagles today? It looks a lot like Lou Williams, but Adoree Jackson all really took away from his press conference yesterday was just being up for the challenge of competing for the job, and also knowing Nick Sirianni from his time when Adoree Jackson was with the Titans, and then also playing against him with the Giants. So he's very familiar with what Nick Sirianni offense looks like. Is he familiar with the Kevin Patullo offense? Calling plays and whatnot. So another round of OTAs. Before we know it, the mandatory minicamp will be here. I'm sure we'll hear again from Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni and all that type jazz. But continued recovery to Jahad Campbell, continued recovery to Nakobe Dean, and continued recovery to our boy Nolan Smith as well. The Philadelphia Phillies started a 3-game series north of the border against Toronto Blue Jays yesterday. They had a 6-run first inning. Bryce and Stott worked a 4-pitch walk in the first inning, followed immediately by a Trey Turner opposite field home run, followed by a home run from Bryce Harper. 3-0 Phillies, 3 batters into the game, and they were off and running. They do not call Bryce Harper the showman for nothing. Yesterday, getting a home run 3 pitches back from his getting hit in the elbow a week earlier by Spencer Strider of the Braves, just didn't faze him. And he had not faced live pitching, like live batting practice, live pitching, since he got hit in the elbow. I love that he had the elbow guard on. Can we keep that on? I know during the broadcast, by the way, Scott Fransky and Ruben Oro Jr. were doing the broadcast yesterday. T-Mac and Jay Rollins actually were on, I think, national duty there with TBS, but love the broadcast yesterday. But they were talking about how Bryce Harper doesn't like the elbow, the elbow thing. If you're John Middleton and you still got $330 million with a possible contract extension or reworking or whatever pending with Bryce Harper, I'm putting you in bubble wrap, okay? I don't care if you hate it. You just hit a home run with it. You work 2 walks with it. Dude, just please wear it. Oh, was your elbow, was it reconstructed surgically? Well, you're wearing an elbow. I want him in medieval medieval garb when he goes up to the plate. I want him to be confused for like a gladiator, actually, which is not medieval, that's antiquity. But anyway, I want the historical references today. I want him looking like that when he goes up to the plate. That's what I want him looking like. Anything to protect him and keep him in that lineup. Because, you know, it's funny, when you don't have a 2-time MVP in your lineup, your lineup's not that good. Maybe it shouldn't be as bad as a 4-game losing streak, but still, nonetheless, it was pretty bad. So he's got the very small elbow guard on. I'd like him to up it to like a Barry Bonds level at least. I think somewhere between Barry Bonds and gladiatorial. That's where I think we'll land on with Bryce Harper. But he gets a home run in the first inning there. You're up 3-0 all of a sudden. Then you blink. You're up 6-0. Bryson Stott comes up to the plate again. Gets a big 2-run single there up the middle for a base knock. Alec Boehm had 4 hits. He was 4 for 5 last night and played phenomenal defense at third base, including robbing George Springer of a infield single there, sprawling out there towards the right field line. It was a thing of beauty. That was a great play he made. Actually made top 7, I think, in top 10s for SportsCenter. That was great. And then Trey Turner's 2 home runs covering both opposite and pull. When Trey Turner's got the swing going the way he's got the swing going, It reminds me of his best times with the Nationals, his best times with the Dodgers, and it reminds me of the World Baseball Classic. When he just sweeps that, I mean, he does have a really sweet swing. When he is just able to get that level swing through the strike zone, it's quick, it's a beautiful thing, and it was working for him yesterday. It was awesome. Pitching-wise, actually, one more thing offensively. The Bryce Harper home run. I had trouble really putting my finger on it when he swung. It was like a Chase Utley, Mike Schmidt, short, compact swing. It was not the normal, it didn't seem like the normal extension you see from Bryce Harper. It didn't really have the violence of a Bryce Harper typical swing. Like, he swings violently. I remember some people having theories some years ago about he's really going to hurt himself with how he swings, and it's too violent. Needs to calm that bat down a little bit. Yesterday was a really calm, short, compact swing through the zone on a 0-2 splitter that he put nearly 400 feet. It looked like a rare, effortless swing from Bryce Harper, and he put it out of the park. So love to see that from him. Pitching-wise, Christopher Sanchez yesterday. I even hinted at this during the show, during my show yesterday. I said during the games, it just seems like this year in particular, you didn't notice this so much last year, but during the games this year, it seems like he is really struggling as the game goes on. It doesn't seem like he is getting dialed in more and more as it goes on. It seems like he is getting worse. And sure enough, they flashed up the stat there yesterday. I wasn't aware of this. I was literally just going by the eye test, and this is an example of the numbers matching the eye. Batting average as compared to times through the lineup. First time through the lineup, 221. Second time through the lineup, 229. Still pretty good. Third time through the lineup, they're hitting 310. So that would support the theory that we've had on this program about Christopher Sanchez. I don't know what happened, but fifth inning yesterday, he goes out there and throws 26 pitches in the fifth inning, struggles, gets up a leadoff home run, but it was a 7-1 game at that point, so you're not worried. Has a 26-pitch inning. In the sixth inning, comes back out there. He's at 88 pitches. Barger leads off with that infield single, swinging at the first pitch. If you're the Blue Jays, why are you hacking at the first pitch on a pitcher that you know is getting worse as the game goes on, when you really, what you want is to get into that Phillies bullpen? So anyway, he helps him out. He swings at the first pitch. He gets an infield single, whatever. Then he gets Clement to fly out to right field. Then he gets Schneider to strike out on a changeup, and then he gets Straw to ground out on a comebacker to him. 9 pitches. 9 pitches. It was the only inning of the game that he had not logged double digits in pitches thrown. And damn, he needed it. 97 pitches for Christopher Sanchez yesterday, and he gets his 5th win of the season, improves to 5-1 on the year. So love to see that for him. Max Lazar, unimpressive. He wasn't so great, unfortunately. He gave up that 2-run home run to Barger to make it a 8-3 game, which is how it ended. So there you go. Also, Carlos Hernandez came in and pitched the 9th inning. So that looked pretty good. That looked pretty good. I liked a lot of that from what I saw yesterday. Before I get into the chat check, in case you missed it earlier in the show, I see a lot of people just joined us. This was Vic Fangio. I know you want to probably talk about it in the chat. This was Vic Fangio yesterday talking about Cooper to Gene moving from nickel to corner to safety.
Yeah, we'd like to keep him at nickel. And then in our base package, we'll find a spot for him, either at corner or safety.
What's the benefit of someone who can play inside at nickel and outside in base? Because you'd have to find, someone at corner at the nickel side with like 80% of snaps.
Yeah, I think a lot of it will end up depending upon how the rest of the guys develop and where do we most need them. So it will be determined by what's best for him and what's best for the team. And it'll probably what's best for the team will win out in that decision. But he's capable of playing corner and he's capable of playing safety.
There's your boy, Vic Fangio, breaking it all down. Hey, let me tell you about the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy. Get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Want to go to the game, the concert, the comedy show? Game Time app has you covered. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase. Also, don't forget about the Game Time Picks feature. What does that do? Well, that filters out all the fluff, so you get right down to it. The best seats at the best prices on the Game Time app. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsNation.com. How about Brett's amazing inventory at Sky Motor Cars? Check out Brett's amazing inventory at SkyMotorCars.com. Let's get into the chat check and see how we're doing on this fine Wednesday morning. Happy hump day, everybody. Let's see what you got going on. Rye, what's going on? Good morning, Farzy and friends. Long live Jerry Jones. Is that just in general, or did something happen with Jerry Jones? Did I miss something with Jerry Jones? Let me just, you know what, because I like to serve the people. Nope, just Jerry Jones doing Jerry Jones things. As per usual. Hey, speaking of the Cowboys, you know what I haven't played in a while?
Take away the scoreboard.
Never forget that. Never forget. Daz, what's going on? Good morning. Ken Sod. Hey, really good morning. Good morning. God bless you. God bless you. Number 5. There we go. Jason, Sean Gillespie, what's going on? Ooh, Ken Sod. Coop, backside blitz. Would love to see it. Vic Fangio would have to call a blitz, I think, for that to happen, though. Yeah, Ken, I think this is where a lot of people are, and I am too. Getting in shape as the season goes on equals I don't give a you-know-what about conditioning because I'm getting paid. That's my concern. If you know you're coming into a year where you could either forget about a rookie contract extension, or excuse me, forget about a rookie option, and you could come into a year where you're either going to get a rookie option, you're going to get a long-term extension, or nothing. That or nothing, I think, would be motivating for a lot of people to, be in shape. And it wasn't. And my question was for the Eagles, this was supposed to be the step-up year for Jordan Davis, and I didn't feel like he was miles ahead of where he was. The Eagles are giving him one more chance because they still see the potential. So here's the conundrum, okay? Let's say Jordan Davis goes out there and has a career year. Let's say he goes out there and absolutely dominates this year. He's everything you hoped he would be when the Eagles drafted him in the first round, 4 years ago. And then they give him that big, fat contract extension, and they keep him and Jalen Carter together for years to come. Oh, yay. Well, does he get fat and happy and rest on his laurels? Or does he continue to get better? Does he stay at that level? Or does he drop off significantly? Does he regress? If you're talking to me right now about a guy struggling to be in shape, right now he's in the best shape of his life, apparently, which, again, I'll say, never really is a good thing to hear. You should already be in shape. You're a professional athlete, for crying out loud. Even if you are a defensive tackle or nose tackle, shape for that position. It reminds me, I just heard the late, great Gary Shandling actually say this in an interview recently. He was talking about, I saw the interview recently. It happened years ago. But he talked about how a fellow comedian has died around his age. And the newscaster said he died he young at 63 years old. And Gary Shandling looked up and he went, young? Oh, I'm young. And then he was like, wait a minute. That's never something you're only young at 63 if you pass away. That was his point. I was like, that's such a comedic way to look at things. That's the perfect Gary Shandling way to look at it. It's like, no one ever says, oh, he's 63, he's young to be playing in the NFL. Like, no, nobody says that. When people say, oh, you know, in best shape of your life, you weren't. That's never, oh, he's in the best shape of his life. Incredible season. No, he's retired now or cut. So when you talk about with Jordan Davis, that's not uplifting for me. That's a negative. The fact that you have to point it out. Like, I would certainly hope he's in the best shape of his life if you just gave him a contract extension. Anyway. Daz, what's going on? I took that like he was coaching. He was slamming the old coaching staff. Huh. Jalix Hunt on the CNN hunt. Damn, Jalix CNN hunt. That's funny. Daz, you can't not love Nolan. I know. Philly Magic 365, good morning. Middleton needs to spend the money and make a real-life Iron Man suit for Bryce, I think. Yeah, for Bryce. I think so. I think so. I'd like to see it. Sean Leslie, definitely armor up for Harper like Iron Man, especially when no paybacks on players getting hit. That is still bothering me. That whole notion of Spencer Strider didn't do it on purpose. Let me bring this up for a second here. Beep, boop, bop, boop, boop. Bryce Harper, I think, was hit twice against the A's in that series out there. Yeah, he was hit twice in one game against the A's. Then he was hit 3 games later against Spencer Strider. All right. And he was taken out of the game. So you know something wasn't great. The idea of only retaliating if it was on purpose is dumb. I'm still on this. And I'm watching these games, and I'm still thinking, like, Nick Castellanos got hit yesterday. It was a curveball. You're not intentionally hitting somebody with a curveball. So I didn't think anything of that. But the idea that you're continuously pitching inside to a guy like Bryce Harper and doing it carefree because you know nobody, if I miss, no big deal. It's not like somebody on my team's going to get hit. It wasn't on purpose. Like, that just seems like bad baseball. It doesn't, like, it's got nothing to do with moxie or toughness or, whatever. It's all about playing the game. Like, guys that are pitching inside on you, if they just do that carefree, then they're going to continue to do it. That hurts your hitters. It could really hurt them, like knocking Bryce out for a couple of games, or it could hurt your hitters just in terms of their odds of getting a hit. This isn't, for me, it's not even a matter of policing the game. Like, I even think that's over dramatic. I think it's a matter more so of trying to control the strike zone and also trying to control the approach at the plate for your batters. Because if an opposing pitcher just like, it doesn't matter, I'll just inside. I hit him. Whoops. I'm not saying you got to go, you hit my guy, now I have to hit him. No, if they keep on pitching inside, you got to let them know that if you don't do it right, if you do it inaccurately, then there's going to be hell to pay. That's the message you got to send. And to me, it's not tough guy. It's not moxie. It's not street. It's not prison rules. It's not Mexican penal league that what's his name? That John Kruk played in. Oh, he set that on fire. Interesting. It's not that. It's just smart baseball. It's just smart baseball. Philly Magic 365. Am I the only one who still feels from how he talks that Fangio still don't like Sidney Brown? He gave him some compliments yesterday, but they drafted Drew Makuba in the second round. This ain't Sidney Brown's job. Justin Simmons has a better chance of being the Eagles starting safety than Sidney Brown. That's where we're at as far as that's concerned, friends. Right. Jerry Jones accused of sabotaging Micah Parsons' contract to keep Cowboys in the news. Isn't that something? I feel like that is. Oh, I feel like this is something he's done a number of times. No? Jerry Jones being accused by a national media figure of purposely sabotaging football success of the Dallas Cowboys, specifically as it relates to signing Micah Parsons' contract extension in exchange for being the top story in sports. Yeah, I didn't see this. I feel like he's done this multiple times. Well, maybe purposely say, yeah, not okay. Who is it? Oh, Mike Florio is putting this out there. Interesting. Florio has developed a reputation for contrarian gripes about the way all NFL teams do business. Yeah, I think that sums him up rather well. And I like Mike Florio. But yeah, I thought this is okay. I feel like this is like a story every 3 weeks. Micah Parsons.
Take away the scoreboard.
Yeah, long live Jerry. I'm with you. I'm with you, Rye. Good hustle by you, my friend. Pin 9617. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Jerry Von Skyver. What's up, buddy? Good morning, Farzy. Good morning. It's nice to watch a game and realize the game is won in the first inning. A nice, relaxing evening. Fransky and Amario in the booth. Excellent as well. Yes. Oh, you're saying he's getting called out for it, Rye. That's a good point. Yes. By Mike Florio. Like, you're just doing this on purpose. Danny Predator, what's going on, man? Good morning. That's hilarious. Yes. Long live Jerry Jones. Hey, look, having a incompetent owner in your division that's not your owner is pretty great. Like Dan Snyder running the Commanders, the football team, whatever, for as long as he did, and them being terrible, that was fun. And now friggin' Josh Harris, man, apparently knows how to run a football team. Damn it. Josh Harris and Magic Johnson. Come on. Yeah, that about sums it up. Let's get into the morning rush. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. Let's get to the morning rush brought to by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Phillies back at it tonight. 7:07 start time yet again against the Toronto Blue Jays. Mick Abel gets the start for the Phillies. Looking to repeat his 6th scoreless inning affair, 9 strikeouts in his major league debut. He'll be back on the bump tonight. He'll go against Jose Barrios. Or is it Barrios? I always feel like I messed that dude's name up. Anyway, Mick Abel, 1-0 on the season. Barrios, I'll go with that. 2-2 of the season with a 3.86 ERA. He's coming off a start against the against the A's. 6 scoreless innings as well. Just 2 hits allowed. One of his best starts of the season. That was a 12-0 win. How about that? So that's where the direction he's headed. Phillies go into tonight's game while the Mets are on the West Coast against the Dodgers. Again, the Mets lost last night. So the Phillies right now in the National League East are just a half game behind the Metropolitans. Congratulations to the Colorado Rockies, who snap a 22 series losing streak, 22 straight series they lost, including getting swept by the Phillies in a 4-game set. They beat they beat the Miami Marlins last night to clinch that series. So they got one more game left today at 12:10 down in Miami. So how about a sweep? Let's go Rockies. Let's go Rockies. Not that I'm worried about the Marlins rising up for later in the season, but there you go. I mentioned the Knicks firing Tom Thibodeau yesterday. Yes, I do think Jay Wright's name is going to get thrown about, and not just rumors. I think this is going to be a real deal. It wouldn't shock me at all if Jay Wright sat down with the New York Knicks and discussed possibly coaching the New York Knicks next. So look forward to that conversation. Hey, I'm going to be talking about that with Keith Pompey a little bit later today on Locked On 76ers podcast. Keith and I will be discussing that 5 days a week. We do the Locked On 76ers podcast, 30 minutes on the Locked On 76ers YouTube channel. So we'll be doing that later today as well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farrs. NBA Finals do start tomorrow between the Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm very much looking forward to that finals. 2 teams that can use a football term, run the ball rather well. So I look forward to watching that series break out into a track meet every once in a while. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. It's fantastic to have you guys along for the ride each and every day. I do have, to answer your question, Danny, I do have the Oklahoma City Thunder winning the finals. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe to the Farzy Show. Like and subscribe to JAKIB Media. Like and subscribe to all Locked On platforms as well. You got me for your Phillies postcasts You got me for your Locked On Eagles Squad podcast with Harry Mays, Jason Martinez, and Louis DiBiase on Locked On Eagles YouTube channel. And you got me daily now with the Locked On 76ers daily podcast with Keith Pompey of Inquirer.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Back with you guys later tonight with Locked On 76ers, and then tonight, Locked On Phillies postcast. Catch you guys then. Have a great rest of your day.